What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
That was crazy what happened, and we'll see like where it goes, and it's going to be really interesting to see.
Look, I think I've quoted this before, but my cousin Ant the Bookie, I had him on for episode 28, so back at the beginning, a long time ago. He had a great line in there where he was like, you know, if you're waking up every morning and the first thing you're thinking about, for better or worse, is who the president of the United States is, something's wrong in your life. And it's not to say it doesn't matter. It does matter. But we've kind of gotten to a point where we rally around these religious politics. This is where I talk about the state becoming your religion. And it's totally unhealthy. And I wish we had better options. We don't. I have some hope that 4 years from now, when these guys are gone, because they have to be at that point, that maybe there will be some kind of like calming. I mean, I hope
think
that's
it'll
not
just get
wishful
worse.
thinking. You think it'll get worse?
I think Gavin Newsom will run for president. I think from that side it's going to get a lot worse, and then the right's just going to get even probably more extreme because the left's going to get more extreme as well.
And unfortunately, you might be right about that, and that's a huge problem to me, because like we keep this divide going like this. Like this is how empires fall. They turn in on themselves and they make each other the enemy, and we're doing that.
And now let's reloop all this, and so what's going on right now, and then with what we've seen so far, right? And then I started making videos on YouTube, and now we're seeing all this migration stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we're importing people from the third world. What's going to happen to America? It's not going to stay first world. If you bring in people from the third world, they don't change because they're in America. Like doesn't have anything to do with our soil. We're the first world because of the people, but we're bringing in people from the third world, some good people, some bad people. We're eventually not going to be able to the same country.
Now, are you saying that because we're letting in so many at the same time, and because we're talking about the illegal migration right now, because we can't vet some of the ones who are actually bad, there will be enough bad people that come in that they maintain the third world, as opposed to the, say, good ones that are coming in that want to be a part of it? Mm-hmm. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because what's going to happen is you're bringing in all these people, and when I lived in Chile, I saw this as well. So you bring in all these other migrants. The migrants, like there are some that are really great people. Like when I lived in Chile, like I met so many great migrants, and that's why I came here to the United States. That's why when I came back to the United States, I started making videos to show like what's actually going on. If you watch some of my earlier videos, I'm really compassionate. Like in one video, I even cry for the migrants because it's like so crazy what's happening to some of these people.
What's that video?
It's called like I discovered a secret hidden migrant encampment.
Can we pull that up? I'd love to see this if you remember where that was. But go ahead, continue.
But what happens is the people come over and they don't acclimate to change their culture. Like in Chile, the people would come there, they wouldn't change their culture, and instead they would like enforce their culture upon the people. And so by bringing these people, you're not going to be like, okay, now let's become patriots. Like let's stand for what America stands for. No, they're still going to stand for what they're standing for, because if you speak to anybody from a different country, like even if they hate their country, they have so much pride for their country.
Yeah, but do you think there's a mix? Because like in America, obviously like we are a melting pot, right? And we had a lot of good legal immigration. Well, it was mostly legal during the 1800s and into the 1900s, where people came from all these different cultures, and many of them maintained pieces of their culture from home, which is why we have restaurants from all different, types of communities to this day that are now run by, whether it be Italian Americans, Irish Americans, German Americans, whatever it is. Many of them had a good mix where they kept some of their cultural customs, but also adopted hey, love living here in America, I'm part of this culture now. Don't you think that's possible? Not with mass illegal migration where so many are coming in and there's nothing for them to do and nowhere for them to go. It's not what I'm talking about. But from a more organized immigration standpoint, that could be a good thing that continues our history, no?
Not if they don't speak English.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
And
like
so
the ones who came in learned to speak English, and they learned. That's what I'm saying. If we do that, that's pretty good, no?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, nobody speaks English that are coming in, and maybe their kids will speak English, but by that time it's going to be 20 years down the road, and so these kids are still going to be brought up in their culture. Like essentially, like if you're a Venezuelan, you're going to grow up in a Venezuelan household, and if your parents never learn English or never acclimate themselves to like what America stands for, you're going to be taught what Venezuela stands for, and that's not what we stand for here in America.
I think you're right in the sense that it does have to be. I mean, if you're coming here, you should want to be a part of that. You should want to acclimate yourself to the culture. You should want to learn it. When I lived in Italy, I learned how to speak the language. I loved it. When you lived in fucking Chile, you learned how to speak the language. You obviously loved it.
You eat what they eat, and you start
Yes.
to become what they become because you respect them. But what we're seeing is that complete opposite is they're coming and they are not learning the language. If you talk to anybody at the border, like they don't speak. Very few of them speak any English.
Well, that's when they first get here, in all fairness.
But you'd
right?
think like when you'd come, like I would never go to another country and not have the, like a little bit of that language down. Like when I went to Chile, I still like I had to go through a rigorous training for like 6 weeks to learn as much Spanish as I could, and then like I could acclimate myself. But like these people, they don't know anything about English. The grand majority of them don't. And
did you use the internet to do that?
No, I had like some books and I had like a course that I took like with the church before.
Fair enough.
And so like these people are just getting dropped off and then they're getting sent off to places, and the places where they're getting sent off to, it's usually just a big group of whether it be Venezuelans or Haitians. They're still in their groups.
Problem.
And so it's like the thing with me learning a whole nother language is I learned it so fast because I was acclimated and I was thrown into the Spanish language. And I was speaking every day with them, but these people are coming and they're starting their own like little groups in different places. If you go to a migrant shelter here in New York City, it's all usually, if you want, I think it's like Venezuelans or Colombians. And so they're not like mixing them with people that also speak English,
right?
Which
Because
wouldn't make any sense.
They're keeping them in these overcrowded shelters. I'm glad you explained this because I have a general agreement with what you're saying. There has when you're letting in so many, again, like it's illegally too. I understand they want to come here, and I think that's great. But like we gotta have a better system to do it. Number one, you're letting in some people who aren't good, right? Who then ruin it for the people who are good. And number two, you're setting up the people who come in because there's so many of them we can't control to fail because you then put them into these crowded little spaces with a fucking million people who are just from their culture, and that's where they stay, and then they don't become a part of, you know, the great parts of America.
Yeah, like they're not going to intertwine.
That's fair. Now, this is the video you were talking about?
Yeah, this was filmed a couple months ago.
And you said you got emotional in this video?
Yeah. Because,
do you remember where that was?
It's right there.
The United States, you guys. This is not in a third world country.
So, like, look how crazy this
in
looks.
Southern California. This is in California. This is the current situation here. And honestly, like, it honestly makes me want to cry for these people. I just talked to these people over here. Like, they came all the way here. They came from El Salvador or whatever, right? Yeah, we can't, like, they can't be coming in here to the United States. They shouldn't be coming in here. It should be a closed border. But imagine traveling all by yourself, passing through cartel, and this is the first thing you see when you get to the United States. Like honestly, makes me sad. So there's so many people that have to go through this, and like being a citizen of the United States is such a blessing. And I hope, like with these videos that I have done, people are honestly able to understand what people have to go through, and they see the reality of what's going on. Because this is crazy. And I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, gay, lesbian, whatever you may be, no one deserves to have to live in this circumstance and come to a country hoping for a better life and this be what it is. They need to close the border because this is not right at all. I feel so bad. This is crazy.
If you're listening and not watching, we're essentially seeing like a muddy, wet,
Looks like a war
open
zone.
area, like tent little town.
This is what
And
it's
it's
like
just
here. There's just a bunch of stuff. And,
yeah.
you know, these guys right here, they're literally from Africa. Like, they shouldn't have came here, and they shouldn't be told to come here. And Americans, they don't want them in their country. But they come here, and this is what they get to. And I can only imagine going from leaving literally another continent to come to the United States, and this is what you get. Like, these guys right here are fully capable men of working any type of job. Like, no human deserves this at all.
Now, all right, let's pause it right there. That's pretty heavy stuff, man. So, it's good that you show this and people can see this and see what it is, because what you're doing there, at least if you ask me, is you're completely empathizing with the people who are trying to come here. They are trying to get a better life, and literally, like, that's the best once they actually get over this border that, you know, they could just apparently walk right across. This is what's actually awaiting them, because we don't have a system set up for illegally or illegally to have people ready to come and have an opportunity to assimilate. And of course we got to do that legally, but that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, essentially that day was crazy because, like, I literally watched cartel drop off these people. They were in the journey of the migrants, crazy, first off, and then the cartel drops these people off, and they get there, they're like, what the frick are we doing here in America? Like,
Yeah.
I saw this lady, I was walking with this lady from El Salvador. She's like, oh, I just came because it's going to get you better. I'm like, do you know where you're going to sleep tonight? She's like, no. Like, do you know where you're going to go work? No plan. I'm like, so what's going to happen? She's like, well, I'll let God decide what happens.
Did
I'm
you
like,
get
what
her
are you doing?
backstory?
Yeah, she lived in El Salvador. She was a single woman. She had a decent job there, but she thinks it's better here in America because you can make more money. And she left because the borders are open.
And how far approximately is that? El Salvador is down towards the southern.
It's just a little. It's like a. It's closer. It's like by Mexico, like one. It's like
Yeah,
one
but
state
that's
down.
still, Mexico's a long country, so she's still going hundreds of miles.
Yeah, so she's still essentially like leaving very far away, which isn't very as far as what some of the people have to do to come from like Colombia or
Yeah, that's
places
far.
like that. But like she should just stay in El Salvador. Like El Salvador, I've been there. I went there after that video because I was like, okay, El Salvador, I think is the best option for these migrants. I'm gonna go make a video there, see what happens.
Oh, you made a video on El Salvador?
Yeah, and there's other options for these people. Like America's not their best option. Like there's other options. Like El Salvador is a great country. If you go to Mexico, if you go to Mexico City is a great city, and the locals there, I talked to them, and they're like, I hear there's opportunities. I don't know why people are leaving. And
So
but
you're
then
saying-
then there are like cartel lands, and like where
Yeah.
people probably are just getting extorted all the time. But just go to a different place in Mexico. Go to a different country in South America or Central America where you speak the language.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.